How lovely. Well, we are getting very close to starting. I am going to stop the slideshow for now, but we will have an opportunity to view it once again in just a moment. But we are just so thrilled about how much fun you all are having looking through this.
That's fun.
We will wait another, let's call it 2 minutes before we get started. So anyone that has joined recently, please go ahead and take this time to get ready. Fill your champagne glass with whatever drink of your choice. Our choice is water for today. And we will get started in just a moment.
So what did everybody do with their great medallion that they were sent?
Have mine on.
Good.
I've got mine hooked on my still life. Do you see right there? I'm being patriotic. But you're patriotic too. Yep. Yeah, this was a surprise. I didn't realize Fort Lewis College did this. I don't know why.
Last year, yeah, last year was wonderful. I went last year when it was on campus at homecoming time. We had dinner out and we went to the president's house and had lunches and tours. It was 4 days of fun.
That's exactly right. We are sad that we had to obviously change it so drastically from the years in the past, but we hope that this is a decent substitute in the meantime. I think we can go ahead and get started. Well, welcome everyone for joining us and hopping on for our Golden Graduate Reunion. We are just so thrilled that you're taking the time out of your Friday to connect with each other. Now, we know that this is nowhere near like every other year, just as we were talking about. But again, we hope that this gives you the opportunity to see old classmates and reconnect with people that maybe you haven't seen in a few years and reconnect with the college. I am Krista Knott. I am the Director of Alumni Engagement. Also on this call, we have Ian Fullenwider, who is going to be the co-presenter with me. Say hey, Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
And we have a special guest moderator with us, Elizabeth Bussian, who is our Director of Employer Relations. And we are just so thrilled to be here. We're also joined by a lot of our campus leadership, and we will introduce them in just a minute too as we go around the virtual room and get a sense of who all is joining us. So before we get started, we do have a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, addressing the elephant in the room, we're wearing masks, obviously. This is because we are working on campus. Ian and I will be taking you on a virtual Golden Graduate tour of campus. And because of that, we need to make sure that we are keeping our community safe. And because of that, we are masking up. So here we are. I understand that it's hard to get a personal connection when you're just looking at eyes and expressive hand gestures, but know that I'm smiling this entire time underneath my mask. Second point of our order is we will ask you to put your camera on mute for the most part. Now, we will have options to interact and opportunities for you all to talk, but if you've been on any kind of large Zoom call, you might know that as people start talking and 3 or 4 people talk at the same time, it can be really hard to hear each other. So if you put yourself on mute to begin with, and then when the opportunity arises, if you have questions, go ahead and unmute and then speak at that point. And if you are new to Zoom, the mute button is at the left-hand side of your screen at the bottom. It looks like a little microphone icon. If you click it and you get a red slash through it, that means that you are on mute. If you click it again, then there's no slash, then you're able to talk and ask questions and participate. And we are also recording this, so we want to make sure that you're aware of that as well. So with that, I would love to just take you through the agenda for today. As I've mentioned, we will toast each other here shortly. So make sure that you've got your special Golden Graduate flute with you, filled with a drink of your choice. Then after we go around the room and introduce everyone that's virtually here, we will hear from President Tom Stridakis. And it'll be more of the campus climate and the state of the college, and that'll also have an opportunity for you to ask questions and interact at that point. Then we will take a quick break, and then Ian and I will take you on a campus tour. We will then end with the opportunity for you all to share stories, dig through our digital archives, read through old independent articles, and also see that slideshow once again that was playing at the beginning of the hour. So with that, I will hand it over to Ian to do the virtual introductions of who all is here.
Sure. Thank you, Krista. So as she said, my name is Ian Fullenwider. I work with Krista in alumni engagement. I'm excited to see everybody here tonight, some familiar faces and plenty of new ones. We're going to go ahead at this point and go around the virtual room here and just introduce ourselves. And for the sake of time, we'll keep it rather brief. You could stick to your name, the year you graduated, and where you're living. So I can go first there. My name is Ian Fullenwider. I graduated just last spring of 2019, and I'm living in Durango, Colorado right now, which is awesome, so fortunate. So everybody's Zoom order is going to look a little different. So what I'll do for this is call out your name, and we'll go through the order on my screen. And when I call your name, I'll go ahead and unmute you, so you don't have to worry about that, and then put you back on mute as soon as you're done with your intro. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Up next, I see Ann Teague. I am going to go through, and we'll have staff members go last. So Ann.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Ann Teague, and I graduated actually in 1969. I left campus, and Neiman Marcus brought me to Dallas, Texas. So I'm still in Dallas. I love Dallas, and I'm own antique real estate. So come and see me.
Thank you, Ann. Now I'm struggling to get this unmute button to do something. Sarah, I see you up next, but I can't. Oh, there we go.
Sarah Norton Hellman. I live in Colorado Springs, graduated in 1969. Steve?
And I'm Steve Hellman, graduated in 1970.
And we live in Colorado Springs.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And Kathy, I see you up next. I don't know why this unmute button is not working for me, so I guess you all are going to have to unmute yourselves. Hang on.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Kathy Temple Adler, and I now live in Highland, Maryland. I graduated in 1970, and we do have a part-time house in Durango, so we're there a lot of the year except for this year because of the pandemic.
Nice, thank you. And Deborah, I see you up next.
Am I unmuted?
You are? Oh. You were just remuted. Don't we love technology?
Okay. I'm okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Deborah Nealon Parmenter, graduated in 1970. I've been here since graduation and been in real estate for over 40 years.
Wonderful. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
And I see Lyle up next.
Did you say Lyle?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Lyle Roberts graduated in 70. My wife was the Spanish instructor there at the time. And now I live in Hemet, California, where it's currently about 101 degrees.
Sounds toasty. Man, thanks for being here, Lyle. And I see Marcia up next. Looks like I can unmute about 1 in every 3 of you, so I'll have to stand by. Marcia, you are unmuted.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marcia Patton Elkins, and after I graduated in 1970, I lived in Durango until 1991, And then my new husband moved me to Florida for 13 years. And after 13 years, we moved back to Arizona to help our aging parents. I've lived in Sun City for the last 13 years. It's good to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcia. And Linda, I see you up next. Sorry, Linda, I'm not able to unmute you. I've still got you on mute here, Linda. Yeah, isn't this great? We appreciate everybody's patience with Zoom here.
Okay.
There we go.
I am Linda Valentine McAndrews. I graduated in 1970. I primarily, while I was at Fort Lewis, camped out at the business department, the business community. That's where I was a secretary of that club and so on. But I became a school teacher, and I have taught at Kirtland Central High School and Farmington High School for 25 years, and also San Juan College for part-time. So I live in Farmington and have for a long time. I used to have a home at Viceda Lake, but I just recently sold that. So I am here, and I love Fort Lewis. I always have, and I always will. So
that's awesome. Thank you, Linda. Up next, I see Jim Hoskins.
Hi, my name is Jim Hoskins. I graduated in 1969. I was a business major, and I remember Linda from the business club. I went to work for a company called 3M, and I've ended up in Minnesota. I've been here since about 1973, off and on. Retired and doing some volunteer work now.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. Up next, I see Dennis Lindsley.
Hi, Dennis Lindsley. I graduated in 64, but actually finished up in 63. Worked for about 39 years with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration around the country. Ended up in California, where we are now, up in the Bay Area. And we are planning on moving back, would you believe it, to Tonawanda, New York.
Very cool.
Good luck with the move, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you. It's been put off for quite a while because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no kidding. Crazy time to try to move. Milton Hill. See, we've still got you on mute here, Milton.
Ian, can you put it to where we can see the person talking?
So let me see if I can change that setting for everybody. I think that has to be changed on your end.
Well,
let me see. But you can, towards the top right on your screen, you should see, it might say speaker view, it might say gallery view up there, but you should see a little button where you can click into it, and it'll toggle through the whole room of everyone or just whoever is speaking.
So on the very right hand corner, you hover over that icon that's got a square and another little square in it, and you click on that and you can change your speaker view.
Perfect. Thank you, Tom. Okay, Milton, you have the floor.
I'm Milton Hill. I graduated in 1966. Actually, my daughter was the youngest attendee at the 1966 graduation. She was 7 weeks old. I live in Marietta, Georgia. I've been here since 1982 when we moved from Farmington.
Very cool. Holy cow, 7-week-old. Thank you, Milton. Okay, up next I have Denise and Craig.
Yes, hi. I'm Craig Coulter. She's on her way. We are both 1969 graduates, and we were there last fall at that event. We lived in Aztec for a while, and then lived in Denver for a while, and now we're living down near Fredericksburg, Texas. It's mostly to take care of aging parents. So I spent a few years in music education, and then went into computers, and then retired from that a few years ago.
Very cool. Thank you, Craig. And we'll have to circle back when Denise rolls up. Okay. Up next, the nameplate I'm seeing is whomever has Susie's iPad. Let me see, hang on. You are still on mute, Susie's iPad.
Looks like it's Roger, and he's driving down the road at about 80, so we might want to be careful there, Ian.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Okay. All right. So yes, I'm in a car on I-40 on my way to Phoenix with Susie. Susie's right here.
Driving.
I graduated in 1970. I live in Durango, except for, of course, right now I'm not in Durango. I was in the software business, retired in about 2004, and I'm keeping busy now with volunteer work. And it's great to be here today.
Very cool. Great to have you. Thank you. Good to know you're not behind the wheel.
Right.
Excellent. Okay, and I see Martin Patton up next.
Okay. Yes, I'm Martin Patton. I graduated in 1970. I'm a retired federal worker, and it's good to be here. It's nice to see all of you.
Where you living, Martin?
In Aurora, Colorado.
Very cool. Front Range. Awesome. Thank you, Martin. Let's see. And I see a Joel up next. Oh, hang on one second, Joel.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. There we go.
Okay. Good afternoon or evening, everybody. I'm Joel Baker. I live in Buellton, California. I graduated in 1968. I was on the ski team. And for the last, since I graduated from college, I've been playing professional polo and financial advisor. And I'm talking to you from my horse ranch here in Buellton.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you for being here, Joel.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. And up next, we have a George, no last name. See if I can unmute you, George. No. Oh, there we go. George, you there? Catch you on a bathroom break? Okay, must be. We'll circle back and see if George is with us here in a few minutes. Okay, so Stanley, do we have a Stanley here? Let's Let's see, maybe not.
Ian, how many total do we have?
We got 2 more graduates and then a whole mess of staff. Just a couple more. Okay, looks like no Stanley. Do we have a Mike, no last name? Looks like I'm not able to unmute your mic. Okay, maybe not. And then Tom Hilton just joined in. You there, Tom? Okay, all those folks had no video, so there might be something going on their end. But anyways, we'll run through staff members now. First we have Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Bustian, and I work in career and professional development here on campus, and happy to be here with you all. It's wonderful, wonderful to see you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Jeff?
Ian, Denise is here now.
Oh, Denise. Sorry, you're going to have to wait just a second, Jeff. Denise, do you want to go ahead and tell us what year you graduated?
When did we graduate? In 68,
69.
69. We graduated
69.
in 69.
Both of you. Awesome.
Yeah, so came to the campus last year, and it was, my goodness, I'm ready to come back.
Yeah, it was great.
It is so expanded and has gained so much, especially in the sciences, that yeah, I'm ready to start over. Here I am.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, and Mr. Jeff Jantz.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Jantz, and I work here on the advancement team in the stewardship area. I recognize quite a few of you from last year from the day and the dinner, and it's great to have you back and see all the rest of you too. Welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Andreas?
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Andreas Tischhauser. I work in the foundation with Jeff, and just want to give a little shout out to Craig there. Also in music education, my first job was teaching at Fort Lewis College, so kudos to you.
Awesome. Dave?
Hi there, my name is Dave Kearns. I'm a 2003 graduate of Fort Lewis, and I'm also a fundraiser up here.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. And we got the one and only Jeff Seville.
Hi, everyone. It's super special to be here. I'm relatively new at the Fort. I'm the Director of Career Services, and I have the honor to work with Ian and Krista and Elizabeth and everyone in our office. So super happy to be here.
Thank you, Jeff. Lee?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this virtual reunion. Wow, just listening to all your stories just reminds me of some of my relatives who are celebrating their, what, for some of you, is it 50 years? 50-year reunion? And that's awesome. And I'm like Jeff, I'm also fairly new to the college. I am the director for our Diversity Collaborative. I oversee the Native American Center, El Centro, the G, which is the Gender and Sexuality Resource Center, and the Black Student Resource Center. So nice to see all of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Okay, Mark Jastorf.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Mark Jastorf. I'm Vice President for Advancement at Fort Lewis. I'm an adopted Skyhawk in 2014 and love hearing your stories, and thank you very much for being here. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Cheryl?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the reunion. I'm Cheryl Nixon. I am the provost and have the real pleasure of being able to listen to all of the ways you're talking about your majors, and I'm sure you have a warm heart for all of the faculty and academics that you did here on campus, and I'm really happy to continue that here today. And I have to say it's been a great week. We just finished our first week of the fall semester. We're on campus in our masks, but we did it. We're very safe, and the students are like so excited to be back on our beautiful campus, you know, with their faculty, in their classes, in their dorms. So just have to give a little yay rah rah for Fort Lewis that we're able to do it. We're sort of proving that we're really strong and nimble and flexible, that we could get, you know, great energy up and deliver on a fall semester in person.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, and last and I guess not least, we have Tom Stridicus.
Definitely last amongst equals here. So absolutely. Hey, it is great to see everybody. Got a chance to have some of you at the house last year, and hopefully and most assuredly will be here at the house next year, and want to make sure you come back and welcome. Just delighted to have you here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. Krista, do you want to have the slideshow pulled up for the next, the schedule of events, and then we'll turn the floor back over to Tom for our first piece of programming?
Absolutely.
We were pretty afraid of everything that could go wrong going wrong with Zoom here today, but I'll say even with the unmute issues, this is going, well, I'm not going to finish that sentence. It's not over.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, with that, Tom, please go ahead and take it away. We're so excited to hear from you.
Oh, sorry, we didn't need to do the re-hand off, but well, let me start then. So again, wish you were here with us, but it's so amazing, as Cheryl said, to hear your stories, because we are here on campus. We show up every day to do the work we do because of our students. And you were once our students. And so to hear where you've gone and the impact you've made on the world gives us an opportunity and inspiration to think about the work that we do with our students on a daily basis. And it's what motivates us to do a great job. So special recognition to the class of 1970. It's their 50th, which is awesome. A little flashback to 1970. The namesake of our library was passing the torch to Rex Burnt, which is the namesake of the building that Cheryl and I share an office in. Dolph Koos started the ski team. I know we have one guy who loves skiing out here at least, and I actually saw Dolph just the other day out at Cascade Lake. You know, he was probably getting ready to do a triathlon or something, if you remember Dolph. And then back in 1970, there was some good building going on campus as well that sort of set the stage of who we've become. And just to share some awesome news with you all, 3 big building projects coming up. We received money we received $27 million for the Health Sciences Center, which will be an extension, an academic building that will buttress Wayland Gymnasium, where for our public health and our disease prevention and exercise physiology work. We, working with Animas High School, which is a charter school in the region, received $17 million to construct a charter high school on our campus, which is just awesome. And then Cheryl Nixon, as leadership as provost, received money through the Native American grant program from the federal government to redo our library, to create an academic hub where we'll have all sorts of resources for students. So the things continue. But I want to pause for a moment and let's fill our real glasses. So I think everyone has a champagne glass at home, correct? And if we get up out here on the Hollywood squares, we can all see each other. And we'll probably, some of you have better drinks in there than I do. I'm still on the clock, so mine's water. Hopefully Susie's not taking a drink there, Roger. Let's make sure that you're the only one drinking. And raise our glass to health, incredible contributions of our alum, and to friendship. And we will rekindle this in person when we can. Hear, hear. And I'll just say a few more words and then open it up to questions or comments or any thoughts that people have. Let me say a little bit about where we are. Cheryl mentioned it. You know, higher education is an industry that's been under tremendous pressure and sometimes gets called the dinosaur, slow to move, slow to react, faculty who are slow to change. One of the things I love about Fort Lewis College is we've been changing the institution dramatically, I think, in the last couple of years. But one thing isn't changing, and that's our deep commitment to students. And when I interviewed and came on board, I asked faculty members what they valued most about Fort Lewis College. And to a person, they said working with students. That's why they're here. And I hope you experienced that as students when you were here in the 70s. That core commitment hasn't changed. It's morphed, and it looked very differently over the last 6 months. So like all of higher ed, we went online in mid-March and literally transformed the institution overnight, putting 750 courses online in a night. As soon as we got through the spring, we started planning about fall and how we could safely open, because we knew the experiential learning that we offer on campus is really what Fort Lewis is all about. And it's been an incredible run by Cheryl and her team and many people here that you see on this call to get us ready. Just a few quick things. We have about 20% of our classes fully online, about 40% of our classes able, where students who, if they're sick or don't want to come to campus, can essentially Zoom in. We have tents set up throughout campus. We have 10 tents and outdoor learning spaces. We're doing classes in the ballroom, in the concert hall. Basically, every space on campus is being utilized. Masks are mandatory everywhere inside and outside of campus. And our students have been amazing. I don't know what college students, I do know that's the students from the large state schools like University of Alabama, but our students have really been leading the way in terms of their responsibility and caring for each other. And similarly, we've been testing. So we've tested over 1,800 students, and we have 10 active cases and a whole protocol for isolating those students. So we're doing all this great work while we're managing a global pandemic. And I can say that we do it because we care deeply about our students. One last thing, and then we'll transition on. As you know, this is an incredible time to be in higher education. Young people are really facing once in a lifetime, once in a generation, once in a century issues, from issues like racial justice to dealing with a pandemic. And we feel like the campus is such a great place to have the space for students to really engage in those critical issues. We've taken a look at some of those critical issues ourselves in our own history as a boarding school and what that meant to Native communities, and having a critical examination of that. So it's been a phenomenal year, even with the virus, record number of grants, record number of donations, and our faculty and staff continue the great work that you experienced when you were here. So I just want to welcome you back and welcome you physically back next year when it's safe to do so, and open up the floor for any questions or thoughts or comments that you might have.
Hi, Tom. I would just like to say thank you to you and Cheryl and the rest of the staff. Being on the executive foundation board, I know and see how hard you work and what an amazing job you have done. So thank you so much. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's been pretty awesome. I would say our staff have thought of almost every detail, and then something happens and you're like, holy mackerel, we didn't think of that. So who would have thought in August 23rd, we were going to have this gigantic windstorm? So all these classrooms that we have outside, our whiteboards are blowing over. So we were running out and tying them down with zip ties. But apart from a few of those small details, our group has thought of everything. And I will say, as those of you who know Durango, our foundation board, our board of trustees, and our donors and our friends, we have incredible support in this community, Deborah, and that certainly helps and put some wind beneath our sails as well. Other questions or comments? Yeah, I mentioned it quickly. I speak very fast because we're always running. But one of our biggest projects this last year was a $30 million health sciences center, where our public health work would go, disease prevention, nutrition. I think one of you mentioned that you really were excited to see some of our growth in the STEM areas. And rest assured, our humanities work is still going strong. Cheryl is a humanitarian at her core. And always reminds us of the reasons why that the arts and humanities shape sense of human understanding. But this year, our top legislative priority was the Health Sciences Center. So we received $33 million for the building. that will house a ton of our work in health careers, which is a huge growth area for us. And what a time to fund public health. We have a public health undergraduate major, which is fantastic. Those students have been involved in our communications around mask wearing. They have been involved in designing our testing protocol, and they'll finally have a world-class space to do their work. So we're also blessed by an incredible donation by Gary Schlesman, an alum who made, and I don't know what class he is. He might, maybe Dave Kearns or someone can put it in the chat, but a $2 million donation to complete our obligation from that. So great work by the foundation board and our donors to make that project come to fruition. And we're excited to bring the building as well as jobs to Durango at this point.
Tom?
Yes. Yep. We can hear you.
Have you mentioned what our enrollment is this year?
I haven't, because we will know finally what our enrollment is at the 10-day count. But let me tell you kind of a few things that are amazing. Last week, and this was one of those, like, we're rubbing our eyes at 5 a.m. and trying to see if we really believe the numbers, Cheryl and I. But last week we were about 5% above where we were this year last time. In addition, our incoming class has over 65 more Colorado residents than any class since the early 2010s, and that's been a real growth area for us. You know, any student who goes to Western, any student who goes to Mesa, any student who goes to Adams, damn it, they ought to be thinking about coming to Fort Lewis, and we're going to be unapologetic about saying that that's the case. And I do swear from time to time, and as Deborah Parmenter knows, damn it's kind of mild for me, so I'll keep it down in real life. It is Friday. It is after 5 o'clock somewhere, so maybe that's okay. So yeah, enrollment looks really strong. We're about 4 or 5% up, but we don't know if that's going to hold, Roger. We're going to wait till the 10-day count. Lots of instability this year. The other thing that we're thrilled about is our retention rate. That is, freshmen who come back as sophomores was really down when Cheryl and I came on board in the high 50s, which is really not okay. It's just not acceptable. It looks to be at 70% right now. So some of the great work that Cheryl and her team have done are getting us there. I'll say with the caveat, we do not want this to be our mission accomplished moment, because we don't know if these numbers are going to hold. All the things that we're used to predicting, we never predict in a global pandemic. So this is what we were, essentially year to date, but the underlying factors are there to do some great work, and we're just completely optimistic and excited about it. Other questions or comments or thoughts?
I didn't get to introduce myself. I'm Stanley Graff, as I graduated in 1967, and my wife, Meredith Drew, graduated in 1968. And she was a teacher for 34 years, passed away in 2017. And I was after going visit Vietnam, came back and was a grain merchandiser, which is I bought and sold grain, bought grain from farmers and sold it to feedlots or export or whatever. So, and just kind of, I was there, I brought my granddaughter and a real good friend in March, just before everything shut down. And we had a very good tour of the campus, and just remembering back in 1967 when I graduated, the new, at that time, library was opened, and we had Chad and Jeremy, who was a musical group, came and helped us carry books from the old library over to the new library. So
Stanley, that's great. And one of the other building projects that I whizzed through when I was speaking so quickly is Cheryl's new vision of the library. Cheryl is creating an academic hub that will, our students still love hanging out in the library. Cheryl, just say a little bit about, give us 30 seconds on the hub and what the next building project that our alum will see when they come back in a year.
Yeah, the hub will be taking the best parts of the library that you all know and love. The nice entry with the balcony, and you go in, and now there's a glassed-in area that the kids fondly call the fishbowl. And then you walk into the main, very big and very expansive element of the library with sort of a grand staircase. What we're doing with all of that space is making it much more active with things like our tutoring, our peer education is moving in there. You met Jeff earlier, our career services is going to move in there. We'll be having sort of a student success area that will be helping students with everything from figuring out how to write a graduate school application to getting support if they're having difficulty understanding their financial aid FAFSA form. So we want it to be a place where everybody can go in, feel that as soon as they enter, there'll be a person that helps them get the support they need to be successful. In addition to that, we'll have an area in the basement level where there's a lot of classrooms. We're going to transform some of those classrooms into learning laboratories where students can do hands-on learning, project-based learning. We're going to set up the spaces, no longer use them as true classrooms, more as experiential hands-on learning labs. So the combination of support and then exciting learning spaces. Already we're seeing just this week, a lot of students are coming in. We've put up some paint, that's about all we've done now, and some really nice banners. But with that little bit of refresh going on, students have already come in and have commented how nice the library is looking, how exciting it is to be there. So every time you come back, when you're in the area, come back and take a look at the library. Over the next 3 years or so, we'll be renovating increasing elements of it. So hope it's the heart of the campus, and we really want to show it off.
Yeah, it's great, Cheryl, and love Cheryl's vision. Sometimes even a little paint and a banner and a few tables can make the difference. And we just want to welcome students. And if you came on campus, you know, we say this, we want to create the most student-centered campus on the planet. And I think we're pretty close, and we're going to keep pushing on that front. And congratulations to Cheryl and her team for writing a $1.5 million grant. About 300,000 of that will be used for renovation. So other comments or questions from our alum? Would love to answer anything else on your mind. Or
I just have one quick question. Is the rope tow for the ski slope still there by the campus?
It is, and our students still use it. And I will say, when you're talking to some students, you know, and you say, yeah, and we got a rope tow, you know, people love it. It's a fun thing for sure. So it is there. I've never done it myself. Maybe that's our next this winter's activity.
I came back from Vietnam, and my wife was a Spanish teacher there, and we got married. That's where I thought I was going to freeze to death, but I learned how to ski on that rope tow.
I love it. I love it. We'll make a commitment to going down that this fall, this winter for you. So hopefully we get enough snow in Durango to do so. Well, I want to close again by just thanking you all for connecting with us. It means a great deal to us. If you could have seen the campus this week, our students back on, all wearing masks, all distancing, and just elated to be here. It's why we show up and do the work. And I will say, meeting our alum who have run incredible careers, made contributions to their families, to the life, to their communities, and to the world as a whole, that's another level and layer of motivation for us. So on behalf of all the leadership, Cheryl and Lee and our advancement staff, I just want to raise the glass one more time to our amazing alum, and hear, hear. On a personal note, I'm going to take this evening and tomorrow off. My high school boys, they're sophomores, twins at DHS, and they made the tennis team, which was like, you know, Dad's proudest moment. And we're driving to Grand Junction over Red Mountain Pass to watch some tennis tomorrow. So I'm going to try to get over the pass before it's still light, because that's always a good thing. But you're in great hands with Krista and Ian. And please reach out to me via email or phone. Krista, make sure everybody has my contact information, put it in the chat. And I'm more than happy to chat about anything that we're doing at Fort Lewis. And just thanks for being here.
You got it. Tom, thank you so much for being here too and taking your Friday evening. We can't thank you enough. Safe
No, it's
travels.
great. Yeah, indeed. Bye-bye.
Wonderful. Bye. Well, with that, we will take a quick break. We will take about a 10-minute break and then go on a campus tour, a virtual campus tour. So we will hand it over to the slideshow again and enjoy it. You know, if you need to take a bathroom break or if you want to refill your glass, take the time to do so. And we'll see you back here at 4:55 for our campus tour. Once you see our screen and it's live again, then you know that we are back on. So we'll see you then.
So if people want to talk to each other, feel free to unmute and talk to each other. And can you all see the screen and the slideshow? Yep, okay.
Except the slides aren't changing.
They're not?
At least mine isn't. I see you, but there it goes. There they go.
Lyle, you're a Vietnam vet, did you say?
Yes, sir, I did. Yeah, I was there in '67.
Yeah, I was there in '69. I'm Clyde Benali,
Ah,
class of '68.
yeah, I'm class of '70, and when I was in Vietnam, I'd gone back in the Navy. I'd been out for 9 years, and I just wanted to ship. I wanted to get out of Tucson. They sent me to a repair barge anchored on the Mekong about 8 miles from Cambodia.
2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I was up in the Central Highlands, kind of inland from Quy Nhon. With the 173rd Airport there.
They tend to shoot at you up there.
Yeah. The funny thing about that was, as they shoot at us, but we had to get permission to shoot back.
Yeah, that was weird. Did anybody have Dr. Black for American history? Black, wasn't that his name?
Delaney.
No, Black. For American history, not Delaney. The guy, he always gave blue books for tests.
Uh-huh. I don't recall him.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Dr. Smith, I do.
Smith, yeah. No, I'm almost sure his name was Black. He's the one that gave blue book tests, and at midterm I was flunking. And my wife, who was the instructor, got a letter that her son was flunking. I finally learned how to take the test, like read the book and study. So it was good.
Okay. I hate to interrupt a good conversation here, but Krista and I are ready up here on the rooftop of the Union building here. So we'll go ahead and get started with the tour then.
Absolutely. Well, welcome back. And I heard such a great conversation happening. As Ian mentioned, we're sorry to cut you off, but we'll have more time at the end to talk and share stories. So we are thrilled to take you on this campus tour. Now, the issue is that with COVID, we cannot go into every single building or every classroom. We are complying by CDC guidelines. And because of that, we are using technology. And technology has its way of sometimes not working the way that we hope it does. So we have Elizabeth Fussing on this call moderating. Our biggest worry is the wind. Now, right now it's okay, but if it starts getting like the sound quality is really bad, she might end up muting us just so that it's not miserable for you. So if it is quiet, we just hope that you enjoy the views of campus and just join us as we take you along the ride. And Ian is our MC. He's also our cameraman. So when you hear him, know he's here. You just might not see him.
Oh. Awesome. Yeah, I hate selfies just in principle. So I refuse to walk around with this thing like it's a selfie stick. But anyways, we'll just go ahead and get started. I'll do a really brief overview of campus history for you here. So in 1880, there was a military fort out in Pagosa Springs, about an hour to the east here, and it was relocated out to Hesperus, Colorado, as part of a land agreement with the Southern Ute tribe. In 1891, it was commissioned as Native American boarding school, and that's the function that it served until 1911. So for about 20 years, we were a Native American boarding school, and then in 1911, commissioned to be a high school. The assets were turned over to the Colorado State Board of Agriculture, and we were allowed to keep the land so long as the building served to provide education, free, high-quality education to Native American students. And that is the charge that we've kept since then. So in 1948, Fort Lewis became Fort Lewis Agricultural and Mechanical College. It was a 2-year institution. And then in 1964, graduated our first class with 4-year degrees. And of course, in 56, moved from Hesperus out here to Durango. And this mesa used to have the reservoir for the city water supply on it. It also served as the airport, which is pretty terrifying. Can't imagine trying to land on this thing. But anyways, we'll go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna hop on mute for a lot of these moving parts. Lovely sounds of wind and golf.
Is there supposed to be audio?
Yeah, they're walking, so they're not
Yeah,
talking.
they're muted until they get to the next building because the wind is a little noisy. And so hopefully you're getting a really good visual of campus.
I really don't remember a lot of wind up there.
Usually in the spring we get some wind, and then it's not so windy, but last couple of days we've had some rain and some weather. So I think they're on their way to the Education and Business Hall right now, and that's where they'll stop, and they're going to go inside.
That is correct. And assuming the wind is favorable, we'll go ahead and talk for a sec outside too.
Absolutely. Thank you for that setup, Elizabeth. This is our Education and Business Hall. This opened in 2001. This houses our School of Education, School of Business, the Psychology Department, and the Math Department. Now, one thing along this whole tour that we really want to hit home is how much our students get like actual hands-on, real-world experience. So for example, in the School of Education, which has a bachelor's degree and now a master's degree as well, students are required to complete a number of practicum hours to actually teach inside classrooms, so that by the time they graduate, they are very marketable and they have had the actual real world experience. Now that is actually similar too to our psychology students. Psychology students are asked to try to get a internship or a part-time job and also get that actual real world experience of working in the mental health field in the local environment. We want to highlight a couple things though in the School of Business, which we're really excited about. So in the School of Business, we have our Hot Tank Business Plan competition. This is similar to Shark Tank, if you had all watched that show, where students come and for a full semester, they have a business plan, they submit it, they present it in front of judges, and the top winner actually receives seed money to start their own business. It's really unique and really wonderful to really hit home that entrepreneur spirit. Now, any student can participate in Hop Tank. They don't need to be a business major. They could be art or history or any of them, which is really unique and wonderful. Also in our School of Business, we're really proud this year. We just opened the Center for Innovation in early 2020. This is a large space in downtown Durango where like-minded business people can get together and talk about ideas and grow their businesses. So we've just got so much going on. We want to show you inside to our ticker tape that is very new, probably in the last 2 years. So follow us. Not that you have a choice.
Yes, as Krista said, this ticker tape in here was donated a couple years as part of a gift from FLC alumnus Dave Markham from the class of '85. Dave graduated and went on to have a very successful career with Lockheed Martin, and he works a lot with our students these days. So you get a newsreel up here occasionally, but more often the ticker tape is displaying stocks, as you can see up on the TV here as well. It's actually on a about a 20-minute delay, so we don't have day traders hanging out in here. But in a normal year, we would have a lot of students in here working on group projects and studying. So this is just a really cool space. Next, we'll head over and check out Burnt Hall and then a couple of the science buildings. See, the deer haven't been scared off quite yet. A little tiny one back there. Now, when I got here, I remember upperclassmen were trying to mess with me as a freshman, saying that the deer out here were biting deer, so you should stay away from them or else they were going to bite you. And I don't know how true that is. I never decided if I wanted to find out, but I think it's good advice to just not mess with a deer, especially when they got a little kid. So anyways, we're out here in front of Burnt Hall, which was originally the administrative and academic building. I'm sure you all remember bringing books out from this section here, which used to house the library. Nowadays, it's the office of President Stridicus, and downstairs, Cheryl Nixon as well.
I think we transferred the books in 1967, I believe.
Yeah, over to John F. Reed Library. So yeah, Reed stepped down and Burnt took over. So we got the namesake of two buildings right there. Right now it's just a home to biology. Used to serve also as the home for geosciences, physics, and engineering until this new building we're about to check out was opened in 2017. But all of those resource centers in there, as well as the chemistry hall that we just passed, are just chock full of laboratories. So students studying in the sciences have the opportunity to get hands-on experience on real research projects, get published in academic journals, all while completing their undergraduate degree.
Of the Sitter Family Hall, as Ian was telling you about. It was constructed in 2017, so it is one of our newest buildings on campus. And this building features a lot of smart classrooms, study nooks, computer labs, observatory deck, which we'll take you up to today, and so much more. This houses our geosciences, engineering, and physics department. And as we go through the building, we'll be pointing out a lot of displays and exhibits that are not only beautiful, but educational. Now, it's windy out here, so we're going to take you inside real quick.
So when this building was completed, it actually came in a little bit under budget. And I don't know who from Fort Lewis sweet talked the state, but they did a good job. We were able to keep some of that excess money and spend it on cool technology for students to use. And then we have a few other displays like this in campus or in the building. So you can see wind displayed up here, temperature in the top right, precip on the bottom left, and then over on the bottom right, waves. And these displays are updated pretty much in real time. So that's just one cool little feature. Here, I think there's a student interview upstairs.
I think he did
point the cardinal directions, which just as someone coming into campus, you just know exactly where you stand. It's really cool that way. This building is also LEED Gold certified because of our sustainability features, which we're really proud of.
Ian, Deborah has a question. Did you have a question, Deborah?
No, I was just going to make a comment on the open house that you did there. Was that 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was, I don't know how many hundreds of people came through it, but it's an amazing, amazing building.
Yeah, we were almost at 300 people. There was a lot of interest. A lot of community came to that celebration when we opened it and had the dedication, and the next day too. We had a ribbon cutting session. So yeah, there was a lot of interest, and we had a lot of students showing their demonstrations, and that was a pretty exciting time for us to open that building.
Well, the students, their demonstrations were so impressive. I was so very, very proud of them.
Yes, yeah. And they continue to do amazing work, and the students coming out of geosciences, physics, and engineering are getting great jobs and doing amazing research at Fort Lewis. It's a great program.
It's a beautiful building.
Yeah, sorry, we had planned on stopping at that last lab and talking about the
Hydraulics lab.
yes, thank you. Geez, drawn a huge blank. There was a student definitely on an interview right there, so we didn't want to hurt his chances of landing that position by just squawking right behind him. To you all, I'm sure you understand.
Was that the fluids lab, Ian?
Yes.
Okay, the fluids lab, where we study hydrology and how water and mineral and materials flow in pipes and open systems like channels. And the students have done some work that has supported trips to village aid projects in Nicaragua and Myanmar. And they've also worked on dredging projects out of the fluids lab. Are you on the rooftop? So now they're on the 3rd floor on the rooftop.
Yeah, sorry, there's a funny little dance involved with getting that key card going. So yeah, this rooftop was definitely my favorite place to come study as a student. Back when we were working on campus, I would still come up here for lunch periodically. Cool events happen up here. And you'll see that telescope right back over there. That's through NASA, and it's and the Air Force. Yes, the U.S. Air Force Space Command, which I believe is now the shiny new Space Force. They use this telescope. It's one of 7 in the nation that's tracking space debris that's been identified as potentially a threat to our satellites in orbit. So really cool. Lots of good stargazing here. You can see we do have some weather rolling in. Got a nice little drizzle going on right now. You can see McPherson Chapel right down there. This balcony is spectacular.
I think we're going to go on mute now. Again, as Ian mentioned, there's more weather rolling in. It's windy. So we'll be right back.
Okay, so
what direction are you looking from the top of the?
That's north. That's north right there.
Okay, so looking north. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And they're gonna head down back down to the ground level. So where we'll take a look at the Foucault pendulum and the wall of time. And Ian will give a great synopsis of the wall of time. And many of the rocks there have been taken from the view that you just saw to the north from Smelter all the way north.
Be exciting.
Yeah, and they on the telescope is part of the Falcon network, and the Falcon Telescope Network, and we're part of that along with other universities across the U.S.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then we have, and that's run by the U.S. Air Force Academy, and then we have 2 other telescopes up there that the students can use for their work.
Oh, okay.
And the roof rolls back, the clamshell rolls back, which is great, and opens up at night and does its work.
Is there seating up there at all?
It's great. Yes, and during the day it's open and people can go up there and sit there, and we've had some celebrations up there, which is really nice. Yeah. So it's a great place up there, and it's quiet.
Well, I have to make it a point to go up there and visit that.
Yeah, you definitely do. Or whenever we open up again and have events again, definitely go to one of those because it's really nice up there. So we've passed, I can't tell where they are right now, but we've passed the geographic and information labs. We passed the optics labs where we're studying the physics of light. They're headed down. I think they're almost downstairs right now. Yep. So I'll hand it back to Ian and Krista.
Yeah, Krista's grabbing the golf cart real quick. We'll just stop here. This is the Foucault pendulum, named for Jean Foucault, who built the original Foucault pendulum back in 1851, took it to the World Fair in Paris, had a little bit of a kerfuffle. It was built in London, and he didn't know at the time that latitude matters and how long this is going to take to swing around on a full 360-degree track. So if you had one of these up at the North or South Pole, you could come back in 24 hours and it would look like it's swinging in the same direction, 12 hours and it would be swinging perpendicular. This really demonstrates the rotation of the Earth. If you had one of these at the equator, it would continue to appear to swing in the same direction the entire time. The interesting thing is that at the North Pole, this pendulum is swinging in the same direction in space, but because the Earth rotates around it, our perspective is altered such that it appears to be swinging in a different direction. Fascinating stuff.
So how did you pronounce his name or spell his
Foucault.
name? Who? What?
Foucault. Let me see, there's a plaque over here.
How do you spell it?
F-O-U-C-A-U-L-T.
F-O-U-C-A-U-L-T. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I rejoin Krista here by the wall of time.
Yes, the wall of time is one of my favorites. This represents 1.6 billion years of geological history. And even look at the close up, so you can see the fossils. This is all the kind of geological rocks that you find in the Animas Valley.
Yeah, you can see some cool fossils in here. For a couple points in the Earth's history, Durango was an ancient seabed. Up by Baker's Bridge, the granite up there, so I don't know if students were jumping off that back in the 60s. That's a big tradition for students now, jump Baker's Bridge.
It always has been.
Yeah,
Always
good, that's good
has
to
been.
hear. That granite up there that you jump off of on the cliff is some of the oldest exposed rock in North America. And there are all kinds of other cool, crazy geological anomalies out here. But all these rocks were collected by a professor and a student and brought up here, and these fossils are a pretty closely protected secret where exactly those are found. But lots of cool geology stuff to do in Durango.
Well, they filmed Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. This whole wall kind of represents what you would see if you took a cross section of one of the mountains out up in La Plata Canyon, or not La Plata Canyon. Excuse me. Pretty much anywhere but the La Plata Canyon. La Plata Canyon is weird. The bottom mountains are like this strange granite inclusion. Way over my head. I studied plants, not rocks.
Linda and Jim, did you say you were in business at a business club? Did you two say you were in the business club? I was in it also. Were we in it at the same time? Do you two remember? You two remember going to Denver and we went up? They took us up there and showed us all these restaurants. You know, for millionaires under 30. Remember?
Yeah. Downtown in the vault. It was in a vault.
Yeah. Right. So you two we were in it. Well, we all went, but
yes, we did.
We really knew each other at that time.
We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Right.
Our tour was in Albuquerque. We had the Young Millionaires Club, but we went to Albuquerque rather than Denver.
Albuquerque. I wonder if they have that many down there now. From what we hear here.
Hard to say.
Yeah, it's
I also went to Phoenix on a trip, and and it was like in December, and when we left, you know, it was freezing at Fort Lewis, and when we got to Phoenix, of course, it was, I think, in the 60s or 70s, and we were all jumping in the pool of which they had closed because we were so excited that, you know, it was so warm. Yeah.
I used to take breaks there and go to Phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good place to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a break.
How many of you can tell me about the Howdy Walk? What's this all about?
What's
Western
the Howdy
dudes,
Walk?
right?
I don't know that Howdy Walk.
It's definitely the Westerners Club.
The Westerners Club.
Oh, yeah, that was big back then. Do they still have the Westerners Club?
Not today.
They don't. Oh, that's another one that went down, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
gosh, they were very active on campus when
Yeah,
we were.
the business club and the Westerners Club were the two biggest clubs in the,
Right.
because we didn't have sororities or anything like that.
No.
So those clubs were really important. And
Well,
I
they
remember
tried.
I wanted to join either one, but I couldn't do both because
Well, they
they're
did
too active.
try it at one time. They tried having fraternities and sororities, and some people abused it, kind of like the guys getting in the female storm, and then that was the end of it for everybody.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
There were
we all
stories
really-
of
Yeah.
stories of people riding down Main Street in wheelbarrows and other types of activities.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
I remember the bed
Yeah,
races too.
that fun.
The bed races were great.
The bread
Yeah,
races
bed
when we
races.
had them, and that, you know, I mean, that was awesome. Trying to go down that hill and those curves.
Well, that was the first thing I asked earlier, and then they showed pictures of the ones where they did go down here. I was just an observer. I never would ride in that.
Well, I started at the top, but I wasn't about to get on that bed. That's for sure.
There were no guardrails then.
That's
No,
right.
not at all.
We lost
And the
the
road was not that wide either, if you all remember.
If you made that last curve, all those houses down there at the bottom, you know, the beds were in their yards and everywhere else. So, yeah.
The Westerners Club used to ride the horses with the flags at the football games.
Right.
Remember that?
Correct.
I remember a football game where the business club had the concessions, and we were selling all kinds of coffee because everybody was spiking their coffee because the game was so bad that we were cheering when we got the ball, which wasn't very often. Our football team was not very good then, and you know, but we all were there cheering away.
We supported them. We supported them a lot. We supported basketball, them, and everything that came on campus. We were there. You know, every bit of entertainment.
Yep.
Yeah. Gosh, we had guitar people. We had who was that guy in New Orleans? The one that one of the famous Pete Fountain.
Right.
Yep. Came. Remember, I met them at the Holiday Inn before the concert on campus.
Yep.
I guess that's why they made the concert on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think that every time I see that movie, you know, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, think Baker's Bridge. Yeah, absolutely.
So fun.
Okay, we got to jump in one more time.
Okay,
Sorry about that. Well, not one more. Another time.
We didn't know how much time you needed.
Sure, yeah. So we went back through the quad of residence halls back there, now called Camp Crofton and Escalante. I believe it was the Camp Sheridan complex back in the day. And what, were there catwalks running between the buildings when you all were here?
Yes.
Did people use those? Were those safe? Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So Cooper Hall just got renovated just this year. West Hall was added into that quad. And now they're Camp Crofton and Escalante. So you saw some students hanging out appropriately, socially distanced, of course, out in the quad. But usually there are a ton more out grilling and playing sports and all that stuff. So the west side of campus housing looks much the same on the outside, but with some refreshed insides. And now we're out front of the Student Life Center, which Krista's going to talk us through.
Yeah, the Student Life Center was built in 2001. Again, a very big year. If you remember, that was the same year that our Education and Business Hall was also built. So Fort Lewis College just had a really big year in 2001. This building was fully funded by student fees, which is also super unique. This is essentially our gym on campus. So we can't go inside, but we do want to point out and kind of portray a picture. We do have one giant rock climbing wall inside, as well as state-of-the-art exercise equipment. It also houses our outdoor pursuits program. And Outdoor Pursuits was started in 1978 by Dolph Coos. How many of you interacted with Dolph in some way or fashion?
Of course.
Dolph?
Who hasn't?
We taught him, he taught me.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. He was so influential to Fort Lewis College, and Outdoor Pursuits is going so strong today. Honestly, like it is one of our biggest programs that we have on campus, where they take students out into the real world, into the environment, small groups of students, usually about 15 to 20 or so. But they've been almost everywhere in the world, it feels like. They took a ski trip to Japan last January, and they have rafted down the Grand Canyon. It's just a really wonderful experience for students to understand outdoor education a little bit better, for team building, managed risk, and it's just so much fun. When Outdoor Pursuits comes up with a new program and students are getting ready to sign up, it is not uncommon to see a line of students just outside this building waiting to be the first 10 or 15 students to go on that trip. And it is one of the best outdoor programs in all of the colleges and universities. And the fact that we have it here on the campus our size is really remarkable. So it's very special to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. OP has climbed Denali, Aconcagua, Elbrus, and Kilimanjaro. So the tallest peak on 4 of the 7 continents. And they're working through that list, more than halfway there.
He was from my hometown, from Leadville. His family knows my cousins. Could I bring up something, you all? Did you all watch when Neil Armstrong walked on the moon on July 20th, 1969? Did you watch it on campus? That's my question. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay, I thought I was mute.
No.
Well, anyway, I was a student senator at that time. So my big bright idea was to bring color televisions on campus. Remember? Were you all living in a dorm or anywhere around there? So anyway, we brought on color televisions where you all could watch Neil Armstrong walk on the moon. We bought them for the dormitories, for the SUB building, and another one. Am I muted or something? I don't hear anybody.
I was in Vietnam at the time.
Oh, you were in Vietnam. Okay. Did anybody live on campus or campus and watch it when they did that at that time?
I was in
color
Rankin,
TVs. I mean, to me, it was exciting because we didn't have color TV at that time, if y'all remember. That's why we brought it to campus.
I watched the moon landing when I was in Mexico as a student for the at the University of Arizona.
University of Arizona, okay.
Down in Guadalajara, Mexico, we watched the moon landing.
Yeah. I was a bellhop at the Strater Hotel that summer.
Who said that?
I'm Jim Hoskins.
Oh, Jim. That summer, yeah. Yeah, you watched a lot of plays too. Ralph, what's his name, was acting in the plays at that time down there.
I was going to say Milton, it looked like he fell over.
Huh? Deborah, you're in real estate?
I am.
Good. We'll have to connect.
Okay.
You know, maybe we can do referrals or something back and forth.
All right.
And I didn't know you a year ago when my mom passed away and we had to sell our house. So.
Yeah. Sorry to hear about your mother.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But maybe we can do some referrals back and forth.
Great.
So it looks like they passed the stadium and went through the Peace Park, and I'm not quite sure if they're going to over to Animas or if they're headed out. Where are you? Where are you, Ian?
Library and the Student Union right over here.
Where are you headed to next?
We're headed over to Bader Snyder, which was one of the original residence hall complexes on campus. It's all since been renovated. See, it was just renovated when I got here, so 2016. And you can see the new part of the Student Union building over there on the west end was added on. That's a nice new dining facility for all the students.
Elizabeth, as an average, how many students come through per trimester? Come on.
Yeah. So
right. Last year we were about 3,300 students, so we must be up. Yeah, we must be up from that this year, which is pretty amazing. Yeah.
I recall we were only about 750 or something like that when we were there.
Oh, really?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all.
I think we were about 1,200.
Yeah.
So you must have known, everybody knew everybody else then.
No. Everybody still had their own separate things they like to do, right?
Yeah.
Except the business club. Now we crossed over with the business club, and I crossed over with the ski club, and crossed over with the theater. But I wasn't into the sciences or what you all are into. We're into.
Has enrollment dropped?
Well, it was dropping, and then we are currently up 5% over last year, which is pretty amazing because nationwide, because of COVID, many institutions are down up to 15% or more. Yeah. We're up. There are a lot of people who want to come to campus because we have a large campus. We're rural. We're remote. Our numbers, our COVID numbers have done pretty well here. So we're a pretty desirable place to be, besides being a great place for undergraduate research and hands-on learning.
I worked on campus from 1984 to 1991, and enrollment at that time was capped at 4,000.
Yeah.
So when you said 3,300, I was amazed because that's quite substantially less.
Yeah. And I think we'd like to get back up to 4,000.
Yeah, Elizabeth, you want to talk us through Noble and Jones Hall on our way over to the concert hall here?
Okay, so they're driving over to the concert hall. We just they passed Noble and Jones, and that is where in Noble we have history, we have philosophy. In Jones Hall we have our music. That's where they're studying music. Rashong Hall is there. The music program is great because it's a smaller program, so students coming in have a lot of opportunity to perform and to perform in all sorts of different music organizations. So now we're headed towards the concert hall, and I don't know if you can see that art installation that's blue and yellow on the corner of the concert hall. That was a Vulcan all-glue installation, and that one of our donors contributed to that, to have that, to get a little campus on that side of campus. Mr. Ballantyne was very interested in getting some color on that side of campus, and that's a great installation that is very different, and every facet, every angle you look at, it looks very different. It's quite striking. And now he's going into the concert hall and the Center of Southwest Studies.
Oh, yeah.
So Ian will take over from here.
That was beautiful.
For those of you who haven't been on campus in a long time, the concert hall and the Southwest Center are truly a wonderful contribution to our community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had a high school graduation take place at Fort Lewis College. Yeah.
So the building right in front of us here, the Center of Southwest Studies, was actually founded in 1964. And at that time, it was kind of just a little lean-to on the side of Burnt Hall. And since it's grown to one of the largest repositories of culture and historical information on the American Southwest anywhere in the U.S. There's a museum in there. that showcases local art and history, and anthropology students are given the opportunity to get experience as curators working in there. There's a large archive underground and an archive library that holds the history of a lot of the happenings out here at large, as well as all of the college happenings since they started recording those. So anthropology, archaeology, gender and sexuality studies, Native American and Indigenous studies, environmental science, and environmental studies all work out of this building. And the lab spaces in there are very cool. It is attached to the concert hall over here, which we'll actually run inside and take a look at. So in 1991 or 2, maybe 3, early 90s.
1993.
Thank you, Andreas. We got a pretty legendary snowfall year, and the concert hall downtown, as well as a number of other buildings, collapsed in Durango under the weight of all that snow. They actually temporarily housed students on campus.
Something's happening with the sound. Is it mine?
Ian, your sound is not good.
It's garbled.
Uh-oh.
Where's the concert hall downtown?
Yeah, we'll hop on me.
That's not.
You might need to go. You might need to go out.
Yeah. Is video okay?
The video is fine.
Okay. Then
Now
we'll
you
let.
sound good again. You sound good again.
No.
Okay.
We could ask, so we'll let Elizabeth or Andreas take over.
Yeah. So I believe it was 97, jump in if I'm wrong with that, Andreas, the community concert hall was built up on campus in partnership with the city of Durango. And it is a beautiful space in here. So right now it's being used for classes, but some big names have been through here. Bit of a nautical theme, fish, leftover salmon, just to name a couple. Let's see, last time we walked over here, there was a class. Looks like there is not. Yeah.
How many people does it seat?
Oh, geez.
Andreas?
635.
How much?
635.
35. Wow.
We'll get you a good view of the whole space up here.
Yeah, the wood looks beautiful.
There you go.
When the ballet comes to town, my granddaughter joins and does watch over there and her dancing and everything. So
That's what they
I've gotten to
perform.
know the place quite well.
Great. Where's the concert hall downtown? I don't remember a concert hall downtown Durango. Where is it located? The one that collapsed, you all mentioned.
I
The
don't
one
know.
that
Andreas?
collapsed, the building that collapsed was on campus, and it was more of a hall. It wasn't really, I mean, it was the recital hall that the symphony used. It was the recital hall that the music students used, but it wasn't what one would call a concert hall, and certainly doesn't hold a candle to what you're looking at now. So that's one of the beauties of this new space, is that not only did it replace what we had, but it is, you know, in the Four Corners region, and Deborah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have to you probably could draw a 250-mile circle before you're going to find anything the quality of this, and you're probably going to be in Denver or Albuquerque before you see anything quite like this.
It's an amazing, amazing building. And it's also at times a community center. I mean, if someone passes away that's well known in the community, it hosts the memorial service. And so it is a home for multiple uses.
Good.
And it's quite often the first point of contact for new people coming to our area. The first time they step on campus is quite often for the concert hall, with the San Juan Symphony and now Music in the Mountains. With the COVID, everything has changed. So we're really going to explore what this place needs to be for campus and for students. But it's been a pillar in the community.
How many musicians have been on that stage and say, I can't wait to come back? It's wonderful.
It is, and with our new sound system, and it's fantastic. Mm-hmm.
It certainly looks beautiful. It wasn't open when I was on campus last time.
I will say the difference between driving on that campus in 1970 versus now is unbelievable, because I got so lost I couldn't get off the campus forever.
Too many stop signs.
Do they still have marriage housing up there? They used to have housing for married students on the backside.
Yeah,
Still have the same houses, or have they built more, or what?
They have family housing with that area that they showed you, Animus and Bader Snyder's, and then they have apartments too.
And they also have a daycare, correct?
Yeah, the Campbell Child Center is a daycare on campus where a lot of community and faculty and staff take their families, and it's a great place for us as an educational space as well.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so there's so much going up on campus. It's a beautiful campus, of course, but there's it's a whole world up there. And now that we're going to add a high school to our campus is very exciting. That should happen in the next 3 years.
High school.
Mm-hmm. Animus High School is going to locate up on campus on the southeast side of campus, over by the Bader Snyder's.
Oh, really?
On the point.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So we'll get the little kids in the Campbell Center, and then we get the high schoolers, and then we have the college students and grad students. So
just capture everybody.
It's a place for everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
So Krista and I are getting our laptops out. This is kind of the end of the tour phase here. And now we're going to pull up the online archives and peruse some independent articles with you all, let you all just chat and catch up. But this time is really just all about you.
Well, that was an interesting tour.
Nice.
Very interesting. Thank you. Thank you both. Ian, Krista.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for joining us through all of that. As Elizabeth put in the chat, thank you, Elizabeth. You can click on this link, and this will pull up all of the digital archives from the Independent. And you can just go ahead and peruse, and whatever you find, if you want me to share a screen, I can do that. And share stories. This is all about you now. We're turning it over to our Golden Grads to have fun, talk amongst yourself, and we're here as a resource, but we'll pretty much just be quiet and let you have at it.
Krista, can you forward a couple of those photos that you have?
Yes, we can. We can actually send the entire PowerPoint to everyone.
Oh, good. Okay.
Great.
We'll do that after this meeting.
Great, thank you.
Remember,
thank you.
Miss Ashback at Cooper Hall, when we had hours, we had to be in by a certain time, or else we got grounded.
Yes. They locked the doors.
Those were the days.
They locked the doors. You couldn't get in.
Oh,
you were late. Yeah.
Me, I know.
Yeah.
Well, who was that, the home person that lived in the dorm that was from Paris, Texas? She was single and she drove a GTO. Come on and help me. When I moved to Texas, we kept in contact for a while, but she went to California. But what was her name? Do you all remember?
No.
She oversaw one of the dorms there, but I can't remember her last name.
Well, I am certain Miss Ashback is rolling in her grave, knowing that she's now at the co-ed dorm, and they can have alcohol in the room.
They can? Wow.
Oh, can they? Can they, Krista, now?
Wow, that surprises me.
Well, it is technically a dry campus, but you have to have permission for alcohol through our event center staff. So yes and no. As long as people got permission, then it's approved.
I can remember getting in trouble because we popped popcorn.
Wow.
So things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you all remember Jim Jones? He oversaw all of housing and all of food services,
Yes.
and all of
I
that.
remember.
And
I
his
remember.
office was up in the SUV building in the Student Union building.
Yes,
It was
I
at the
remember.
top of the stairs and that little across from the ballroom. At that time, we called it a ballroom. I
Yes.
was his secretary for a couple of years. I worked my way through college with him, being his secretary.
Mm.
Yeah, so.
I liked Dr. Delaney.
Oh, I loved him. He was, yeah.
He was great.
Yeah, he was very respectful. Do you remember every time he walked in class, he threw his necktie over his shoulder? Every time he walked in class, he would throw his necktie over his shoulder.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made, there was also another professor, Dr. Oh, I'm going to ruin his name, Dr. Ginga Dunn, we called him. And he taught world history. And he was horrible to me anyway. I mean, I couldn't take it. And I moved out and I went to Dr. Delaney's class, and it was wonderful. I don't remember the guy's name.
Well, did you all take any accounting classes or anything from Dr. Eubanks or Bill Hollis or Jerry,
Yes.
any of the business classes?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
interestingly enough, here in Dallas, it just so happened we just all well, this was when I first got here, but they had a business meeting in Dallas and we just all ended up in the same place together. It was just old home week. And it was just really fun, recognizing somebody from home and a professor and everything.
How about the chemistry teacher, Geimer? One arm person. He only had one arm. Dr. Geimer taught chemistry.
I don't remember him.
I never took chemistry.
No, I didn't.
I didn't take chemistry.
I didn't qualify for chemistry. I hate to tell you.
I didn't want to qualify.
Yeah.
One class, that was it.
Yeah.
I hung out all in the business area, and we had to take those general classes, remember, and you all they'd sit you in alphabetically, and my last name, of course, was Valentine, so I was way in the very far corner, and I could barely see the professor. It was because, everybody had to take those classes at that time. It was those general ed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of classes.
And if you weren't in your chair, then whether it was you or not, you were counted absent. I mean, back then that's how, and that was really an important thing. You didn't really miss class, but I think that's changed.
Gosh, yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I even had a hard time in the first grade when they used to seat us alphabetically and whatever. I'm the type person, I like, even at church now, I sit in the first or the second row. Wherever I go, I just like to see what's going on, because I've always been like that. So if they seated us by the last name, my name was Pinekbar at that time, my maiden name. I mean, I'd be way in the back of the class.
Yeah.
But my focus, I would look around and see what people were wearing or what they were doing. Yeah, I broke in focus. I need to be a person up at the front of a class,
And we went when we went to school. It was the old road. Now they have a very fancy new road up there, but we had that windy one, going up. And I remember walking during finals. They didn't always plow the roads, so I lived off campus, and so I had to find a right way to get up there to my finals. So, and I remember walking sometimes up that hill.
Yeah, and there were stones on the side of the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we remember, and I know all of you that had cars like me, there'd always be somebody at the top of the hill or at the bottom needing a ride up or a ride down.
Yeah.
You always stopped.
Right.
Gave them a
Still
ride
the
up.
case.
It's still the case? Oh,
Still the
good.
case.
Oh, yeah.
I remember somebody rear-ended me going up they sprung the trunk on my car. I never did find out what their name was.
I was driving a Volkswagen camper starting up the hill, and there was a guy walking. So I said, "Yo, jump in." He jumped in, and he started to light up a cigarette. I go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't light up." And I get up. I gotta have a cigarette, man. I said, I stopped the car. I said, "Get out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your camper.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. Do you guys remember the blue and gold beanies they made us wear as freshmen?
Oh, sure.
I wasn't a freshman ever, so
Yeah,
I came when I was
freshman, really.
I was so I lived off campus, but we went up to freshman orientation and they made us wear this gold and blue beanie, and I was insulted, man. You know, it was so funny. And then, do you remember how windy it was at graduation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the wind just blew like I thought it was good.
Graduate in 69 or 70?
I graduated in 70.
So did
was
I.
it windy? I don't remember it being windy.
It was cold too.
I don't remember that. I went up there from Dallas and went up that, and then left there and drove across Canyon City. And the road was pretty well closed, and this friend and I got in there and went to Denver. If you can imagine. Boy, that was an exciting trip. It was one not to forget.
You guys remember Mrs. Simpson, who was the secretary of the president? Ann Simpson, she lived at the bottom of the hill behind the fish hatchery.
Simpson, you're not talking about Annabelle Plumley. Remember Annabelle Plumley?
No, this was Ann Simpson.
I don't remember Ann Simpson.
And she lived in a house on the backed up to the fish hatchery, and we rented a little basement house from her, my wife and I. I could fish in the fish hatchery, and it was pretty good fishing.
Well, you know, we lived, you know that wall that was at the fish hatchery?
Mm-hmm.
At the top of the wall, that was East Park Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in a house that overlooked the fish hatchery, overlooked the wall. You know, you could see everything happening in the fish hatchery.
Well,
so you lived down there and I lived above there.
Ours was the actual big fish pond that they had was in our backyard. It was in Ann Simpson's backyard. And I caught a small trout out of there one time.
Did you? That must be by accident, right? You were walking by and it just jumped out at you.
She actually had permission to fish.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well,
it was a nice time.
I just remember all you guys being in Vietnam while I was in college.
Yeah.
So all the good guys were all gone. They were serving Vietnam. And I remember some of them coming back, and they weren't the same as when they left. And so I remember how, you know, that was the sad things, you know, and that most of the guys were gone, you know, serving. So.
Well, you know, you talk about Vietnam. It's even amazing to this day in how many conversations Vietnam comes up. You know, you meet people, have clients or whatever, and it always comes up. It was just a big war, you know, just a big war.
The younger generation doesn't have a clue.
They don't understand, you know, frankly, they don't understand anything. Look at what's happening right now, what they're doing to our cities. You would think that they would have at least been taught history.
Yes.
Something, but my gosh, y'all, doesn't it exasperate you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
And
we don't want to get into political stuff, right?
No, we don't. But we all know.
The picture behind me, that's what I was
about 3 weeks before my graduation at Fort Lewis, I got a draft notice. So I went, got my gown, went through the ceremony. I didn't hear anything because my mind was someplace else. Dropped my gown, got my diploma, jumped in the vehicle, went home. No parties, no nothing. And that was my, I don't know, it's just, to this day, it still bugs me, but that's the going away, so to speak.
So
But
Clyde,
coming back was the worst. When some people try to throw eggs and spit at you and everything.
Call you names. Yeah.
Clyde, did you go to Vietnam after you graduated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, 'cause
And I was hounded to be an officer from the day I showed up at the recruitment. Even when I was in Vietnam, they wanted to do a field promotion, but that meant I had to agree to an additional 3 more years.
Yeah.
And I was a draftee.
You said no, huh?
Yeah.
Well, thanks to all of you that served.
Yeah,
and defended our country.
absolutely.
So thank you.
Absolutely. Just so we lived through an interesting time too, y'all. We really did.
Yeah.
We really did. Well, I'm going to bring up just maybe one side note, because I know we were all in school at the same time and you read about it in the papers and everything. But I was married to Jim Teague. And Jim, when you mentioned that you worked at the Strader Hotel,
Yes.
Where'd you go? Yeah,
I'm right here.
my husband lost his life in the Strader Hotel elevator. Jim
Yeah,
Teague.
I definitely remember that. I was terrified of that elevator.
Yeah.
And it was just an experience. I was a medic in the National Guard when I was in college, and so I just stayed away from that hotel, from that elevator, as much as I possibly could. That was really a tragic time.
I probably wouldn't mention it except that you mentioned that you worked there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, fascinating place to work. Yeah, I met Louis L'Amour there.
Oh,
the writer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my claim to fame, I carried his bag.
Louis L'Amour. Didn't they call him
Louis L'Amour, yeah.
Louis L'Amour.
Yeah, carry his bag. He always had a special room that he wanted in to be staying in. But yeah, fascinating place.
You know,
I did a lot of partying at the Strader.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was a bartender there for a while too.
Yeah.
All kinds of jobs.
Oh, I love the piano playing, and
yeah.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful? Oh, gosh.
Even to this day, you know, I live in Farmington, but my husband and I go on our anniversaries and stuff. We go to Strader for our special dinner, our special night.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody that lives in Farmington, we go to Durango to play, and everybody that lives in Durango comes to Farmington to shop because they don't have any shopping. But anyway, so you never really get too far away from Durango, although it's changed a lot, you know, a lot of new people in. And so
a lot of new people.
It's not the same old Durango, but, but we still go up there and eat and play and act like tourists. And we see a lot of Colorado cars come down to Farmington to shop. So yeah.
I did my student teaching in Farmington High School.
Yes.
That was a good experience. That was a good experience. Yeah.
Well, that's where I came from, Farmington High School, and then all my business teachers there encouraged me to be a teacher. So that's when I went off to Fort Lewis, and I got my teaching degree, and but they didn't have any openings at Farmington High, so I started at Kirtland Central, which is just a little. And then all of my business teachers that I went to school with kept calling me and saying, please transfer over to Farmington High. We want you there. So eventually I did, and I got to teach with my teachers, which was really quite an experience. Yes. Yeah. So.
I remember I had 5 teachers, 5. Nobody ever has 5 supervising teachers.
Yes.
4 of them gave me an A, and a coach gave me a B. He came one time to observe me, you know.
Yes.
He gave me B. The rest of them gave me A's, and they were in class all the time, you know. So yeah.
I wanted to teach shorthand, and of course now that's a not a subject anymore ever.
Don't you find you still use it though? I still
well, occasionally, yeah. But I ended up teaching accounting. That was mostly my area. So yeah.
Debits by the window, credits by the door. I know. Hey, you know, one thing that's not changed in Durango in 50 years that I've seen, last couple of years, we were there about 2 years ago. We went to the Bar D, same thing, great entertainment, just a lot of fun.
Thank goodness that hasn't changed, because
Yeah.
that's such a special place, and it always will be. And you know, we almost lost it with the fire, you know, with the Missionary Ridge fire. We almost lost it. So
Refresh me where it's located.
Bar D.
Oh, you go out toward Purgatory, whatever that highway is, and it's just off to the right. Once you go across.
Yeah, it's off of County Road. It's off of County Road 250.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that up near, going near the honey place where you get honey? And
it's on the opposite side of the valley. You have to cross I-50. That's the west side.
Oh, if you've never seen it, it's wonderful.
I don't think I've ever been there. Well, as a tourist, you know, I don't think I've ever.
Yeah, but it was there 50 years ago.
I didn't go, I guess.
And I swear that the owner at the time, I swear he's still playing.
Really?
Yeah, he had a guest appearance. He played a couple of songs.
I think you're thinking of Sky Scarborough.
Yeah, right.
And he did pass away.
Oh, did he?
He did, just not long ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay, because 2 years ago he was there.
Yeah.
And we were there. You know, you get the potato in here, you get this, and great food. And it rained and stormed when we were there. They had a whole roof that came over it and covered it. Didn't used to have that. So it was great. Anyway, the picture behind me is me when I was a cop a long time ago.
Oh, good.
All I can say is support your police.
Thank you. I agree with you. And let me show you this one. Maybe I can move it. This is a still life done with an eggshell mosaic. And that's one of my blue ribbons on top of it. But it just makes me feel good. That's why I keep it.
And I can't hear you.
But you can't hear me.
No.
Do you all hear me? Do any of you hear me?
I could see the picture, but I couldn't hear you talking.
Oh, I wonder what I did.
There you are.
Okay. Oh, here I am. Oh, okay. The picture I showed you, you were showing something that means a lot to you. I was showing you something that means a lot to me. It's an eggshell mosaic, still life. And that's one of the blue ribbons that I won on that. And this is just, you know, everybody has something that makes them feel good. This is my feel good picture. So, yeah. So I thought I'd show it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were you a cop? Where were you a cop, Lyle?
Tucson.
Tucson.
Wow.
You know, I broke in as a rookie. I broke in the chief of police that took over many years ago.
How many years were you in the police?
I was only on for 5. And then that's when I went back into the Navy for a year. And then I worked for, when I got out of Fort Lewis College, I had a math degree. I was in engineering, and my wife was a Spanish instructor there. I realized about the second or third trimester, there's no engineering program here at Fort Lewis. You'd have to go up to Pueblo or wherever, no, Fort Collins. And so I said, oh, I got 15 hours of math. I'll just get a math degree. Got a math degree, and it was great. And then I went to work for Centel and went all the way up to VP at Centel and retired at age 55. So I haven't worked for, what, 25 years, 30 years. It's fun retiring.
I think it's great for some people. I think retirement is great for some people, but I just like doing what I'm doing, you know, so that's why I'm staying in the business.
Well, you know, you retire, but then you get into Kiwanis and you get into Elks and you get into your church.
Well, you're right. And that's the same thing I'm doing. I'm a precinct chair and an election judge, and I've organized several neighborhood watches and, you know, church, everything. I have a lot of stuff going, as we all do, you know.
I think we're gonna.
But I like meeting all the new people still, you know, meeting new people. That's keeps me going.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten knocked off of Zoom yet, because every time I set up a Zoom call, it's just a freebie, so it's only 40 minutes. We've been on for
quite a while.
Oh, we shelled out to the top tier of Zoom. You can stay on as long as you want to.
Thank you,
Robert, I'll let you go home.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, Christy. She came back.
Hello. Oh, yeah. I've been here the whole time. We've just been
Keep your
listening.
little mask on. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to
Okay,
sign
Clyde.
off. It was good seeing you guys.
It was
Thank
nice
you.
visiting with all of you, and this was enjoyable, Christy. You told me it was going to be fun, and I did have a good fun. And cheers. Here's to you. Here's to Christy.
And Christy,
And the organization and Ian.
can you make available the slide presentation, the pictures?
We would love to do that. We will email that out, the whole slideshow to everyone.
Okay.
Hey, sounds good.
Okay.
You take the
I
rest.
hope to see you all again in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. This was so much fun.
This was fun.
Nice seeing you, Christy.
Good to see you, Clyde.
Take the rest.
We'll remember 2020. We'll remember 2020. This may be this may be the only time this ever happens again, ever. You know. Okay, y'all.
Right.
See y'all later.
Take care.
God bless you
Stay
all.
healthy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.